Um, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Haroya Hayam, right? We're about 5 lines from the top. The Mishnah says that if you see the Yam HaGadol, if you see the Great Sea, you go ahead and you say a bracha, a special bracha, bracha ta Hashem, shosa Yam HaGadol. And we spoke yesterday, the discussion exactly what sea are we referring to. Now, the Mishnah said that how often would you say the bracha, right? The Mishnah says if you see it every 30 days, if it has to be 30 days have passed, if once 30 days have passed, so let's say we would say on day 31, you after 30 days have passed, so day 31 days later, that's how we could say, then you would go ahead and say the bracha again, right? If you go ahead and you see, or similar to the mountains, the hills, if you haven't seen such a phenomenon in 30 days, then you'll go ahead and say the bracha again. You don't say it every day. Every day you see the ocean, you don't say the bracha, but it needs to make a chashut, something newness, a freshness. You're in awe, but something you see every day, you don't appreciate, you don't have that awe. You don't, you get used to it. 30 days has passed. That's why the same halacha is by a cemetery. Person did not see a cemetery for 30 days. There's a bracha that he says upon seeing a cemetery. And again, but if you see a cemetery every day, he will not say the bracha every day. There is a discussion halacha by the cemetery. If I see is it only if I see the same cemetery? Well, what about if I see a different cemetery? On Sunday, I went to cemetery in New York. And on Monday, I went to cemetery in Jersey, a different cemetery. So some say, there are many that say it's a different cemetery, even though you saw a cemetery last week, but you didn't see this cemetery last week. You hear that? The whole discussion, if it's a different cemetery, then maybe you would have to say a bracha. There's a discussion, halacha. Okay. The bracha ta Hashem sheyose eschem bedin. That bracha that said, but that's let's see if they finger brown over here in your that bracha. In the cemetery, so we said the cemetery is very similar, and interesting to note, why is it by lightning, thunder? We don't have such a. We don't say you need 30 days, right? Lightning, thunder, rainbow. We don't say it's 30. It's a 30-day. You need 30 days in between. But let's say every what's that? Yes, right. Okay. Right. So, but very good. So, like Yaron is saying, because the lightning is something new. It's not that what is there. The hill, the river, the ocean is there. So it's nothing. But lightning is not there. It needs to be seen. It's not situated in a place. That's what you're saying. Therefore, it's something new that happened. The ocean is not new. It's not something new, a new phenomenon that I see. It's there. It's not new, but something that's new, so to speak. That's something that I would have to go ahead. Therefore, you don't have that 30-day rule by that. Seeing the cemetery. If you're driving, technically you should be. Now, obviously, it means that you see it and you're moved. It makes an impression on you. I would think if you see it, but it's like you didn't see it. If for some you see it, you realize, you take note. Yes, Daniel, what do you want to say? Also about ripping. One in Mr. Haber, and it also fits in, but it's there. It's situated. Something. It's there. Now, 940. Here it's in 994. Let's see 994. Let's see what they say here. We have to see what the Sfardim do. But the Ashkenazim will go ahead and they would say And the Ashkenazim would say a bracha. Okay, but I don't have to see in this what the Sfardim. I don't know if that's right. Okay, Mr. Hebrew, what we just said is that when we see certain phenomenons, whether it's rivers, whether it's oceans, the Mishnah says you say leprakim. You say it on occasion. You don't say the bracha every day you see the ocean. It has to be only an interval. A certain amount of time have to have passed in order for me to say the bracha again. So the Gemara defines that as 30 days. 30 days is a time that's considered a month that's passed. And 30 days is considered a decent amount of time, significant amount of time. So now the 30 days have passed, it's like we had the Gemara. If you didn't see your close friend that you're so close with, you didn't see him for 30 days, then you say the bracha shachianu, right? 30 days have passed. You know, it's a significant amount of time. Similarly, we find it interesting when it comes to mezuzah. If you rent an apartment, once it's 30 days, that's considered already a significant amount of time. You have to have the mezuzah. If you rent an apartment, you have up to 30 days to put up a mezuzah. But after 30 days, it's already considered. By the way, people make a mistake. When you buy a house, you don't have 30 days. Yeah, the moment you move in, you have to put up a mezuzah. And people make that mistake because usually the first place that a person lives after he leaves his parents' home is a rented place. Because it's rented, usually people don't move into his own home that he bought. So everybody knows the first place he moves into, he knows he has 30 days to put up a mezuzah. But then it's 10 years later and he's able to afford a house, let's say, he thinks he also has the 30 days. That's the problem. It's not true. So you'll tell everybody, Mr. Haber, okay? What do you mean no? What do you mean no, Mr. Haber? It's your responsibility to tell everyone when they move into a new house. By the way, don't forget the first night you move in, you have to have mezuzah. That's what you do every time someone tells you they're moving into a new house. Don't forget the first night. The first night, right? When you don't have no 30 day. You have no time. No great, right? Exactly. Okay, so that's the prakim. Mr. Hey, we're about 6 lines from the top on Nuntet on the base. Ad shloshim yom, 30 days. V'oma Rami Bar Abba Mavisa. Haroya prat. If you see, now the Mishnah said that you say the bracha on rivers. The bracha on rivers. Now the question is, which rivers make it that you're able to say a bracha? So we know that the Torah talks about 4 great rivers, and that would seem to be, everybody would agree that you say the bracha on the 4 great rivers. The question is, what about rivers that are not the 4 great rivers? Would you say the bracha of Osem Ma'aseh V'Reishit? The Torah itself talks about the 4 rivers. And the question is, what about things that are not the 4 great rivers? So the Shulchan Aruch says, you only say on the 4 rivers that are written in the pasuk. That's the literal reading of the Shulchan Aruch. The Chafetz Chaim, and that's only the rivers, the Shulchan Aruch says, if they're in the original spot. But if we're going to see in the Gemara that if the rivers were changed, in a place that they were changed, they were altered by man, you don't say the bracha. The Chafetz Chaim says, what do you say? Okay, the Gemara is going to identify certain places that they didn't change at the time of the Gemara, and the Chafetz Chaim writes, not after these 4 rivers, all rivers that are as large as these 4. So, and they're known from the 6 days of creation. Not that these rivers came into being later on, man-made rivers. These are natural, has to be natural rivers. And so the Chafetz Chaim goes on record that you just have to know the size of the Euphrates River or the Tigris River. Those are some of the 4 rivers that are mentioned in the Torah, and therefore that would be enough. It doesn't have to be specifically these 4 rivers. It's anything that's any river that that's similar in size to those four rivers. That's what the Chofetz Chaim says. And now, let's continue in the Gemara. So the Gemara says, and the Gemara discusses Mr. Haber's point. The Gemara says, you see the Euphrates River, which is one of the rivers that are written in the Torah. Now, Haroya Paras Agisha de Bavel. If the part of the river which is by the bridge of Bavel, of Babylon, Omer, he says, let's say it's by Iraq, Omer Oseh Baruch Oseh Berachos. That's the spot that you say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam Oseh Ma'aseh Berachos, because at the Gemara had a tradition that from this point and upstream, nobody has changed the course of the Euphrates River from that bridge of Bavel and upwards. So therefore, then you know, at the time of the Gemara, that things could have changed now, and therefore the fact that at the time of the Gemara, no one changed it, people could have changed it. Therefore, you won't be able to say the bracha. But if you know that nothing has changed, that's the original spot. You go in and you say the bracha, the Gemara said, but you know what happened? The Persians changed the course of the Euphrates River in that area. So no longer that area by the bridge of Bavel is the original spot. So what do? One could recite the bracha from the place of Shavua. That's another area by the Euphrates River. So that spot, nobody changed that spot. It could be, but I would speculate that depending on how high up this area was how easy it is for man to change, right? Who's changing the river? It's man. The certain things are much more difficult for men at that time period to change. And therefore that spot, wasn't changed. And therefore you could go ahead and say the bracha at that spot from Beis Shua. Rabbi Yossi said, Yosef Amar, Me'ir de Kira La'el. Rabbi Yosef says, you have the spot that you have to go further upstream. The place called Iya de Kira. That's the spot that hasn't been changed. But the previous spot that the other rabbi said, he says he's concerned that maybe that was changed. But Iya de Kira, from that spot, you're good to say the bracha. Now, Rami Bar Abba says another point. Haroya Diglash, you see the Tigris River, which is the Chidek El. It's one of the rivers mentioned in the Torah, the great river. Agisha Shabditana, upon the bridge, the Shabbistana bridge, that spot, was not changed, and that's a good spot. By that bridge, Omer Baruch Oseh Ma'aseh Berachos. Now, the Gemara says, "My Chidek El." The pasuk says in the Torah that the Tigris River is called Chidek El. Why the name Chidek El? We know names are not haphazard. It's not like out of the box. What does the word of Chidek El have to do with the river? Usually a name describes the item, connected to the item. So what's the Chidek El? Chidek El is a break of two words. Chidek El is Chad, Ches, Dalet, Kuf. Chad means sharp, and Kal is light. That means the waters of this river, of the Tigris River, are sharp. So some say it means that it's sharp, it's strong, the waters are strong, the taste is a sharp taste, but also it's light. It's not heavy waters. They don't have all the particles in it. It's light. It's a lightweight water. Most probably means it's more clean. And also it's light, it goes down.
Wait, Rabbi, it's supposed to say Hachidekel, right? It's Aleph or Hey in the beginning.
No, it's Chet. Chidekel.
Oh, Chidekel? Because we're saying Achidekel.
Maybe because because you're saying the Hey is just like
okay, Chi, it's alive, it's Chai, and Dekel, it's like the palm tree in Israel.
Yeah, but we're breaking it into two words. Chad, Kal. Chidekel is Chad, it's sharp, the waters are sharp, and kal, and it's very light. It goes down very
How you
smooth.
got the kuf, but you don't have kuf.
Lamed.
It's dekel.
Kuf.
It's kel.
Yeah. Kuf lamed is kal, like
Oh,
kalim.
so it's not. Where's the dalet go? He.
On the first letter. Chet dalid. Chet dalid is chat, sharp. And the Gemara is going to say, we'll see tomorrow, the water is sharp. The people who drink the water are also sharp. You're affected by what you drink, by what you eat, has an impression on you. And we should all be sharp in the right way, in the positive way, to know what's right in life. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank
That's
you.
what it says. Vishinantam levanecha, it says divrei Torah should be mechudadim, sharp in your mouth. Anybody asks you a question, you should have an answer. Have a great day, everybody. And we
Thank
should
you,
have a
Rabbi.
great davening, great prayer this morning, Bez Hashem.
Be'ezrat Hashem.
Yes, take care. Bye-bye.